homemade hummus recipe. So hummus is really great because the main ingredient is chickpeas, which I have here. And chickpeas are really high in protein. So they're a great source of protein if you follow a vegetarian, vegan, or plant-based diet, but they're also really great even if you eat meat as another alternative way to get in that extra protein. So to begin, first I open the chickpeas with a can opener, and I'm just going to rinse and drain the chickpea can. So carefully take out this top. Using this, you can pour out all the juice that comes in the chickpea can. You don't need it. So I'm just going to put the chickpeas in here and rinse them. So now they're all rinsed, we're going to mash them. So I'm going to mash them on a plate. So I have this large plate I'm going to use. So typically for hummus recipes, they recommend to use a blender or a food processor to mix up the chickpeas. Now this is a lot easier to do if you have a blender or food processor. What I'm showing you is how to do it if you don't, because just because you don't have that appliance, we don't want you to miss out on being able to make your own hummus. So the idea here is we're just going to mash the best we can these chickpeas. Here are all my mashed chickpeas. So the recipe asks for the entire can of chickpeas, so that's what we put in here. So I'm going to transfer all of the mashed chickpeas into this large bowl. Now I definitely have some lumps in here still, so you could spend more time mashing to remove all the lumps if you want a more smooth texture. But personally, I'm not super worried about that, so I'm going to leave it as is. So next, I'm going to add a little bit of water. So the recipe asks for 2 to 4 tablespoons of water. So the next ingredient was to add the 2 to 4 tablespoons of water. So I'm just going to add 2 tablespoons to start since I haven't added the other wet ingredients yet. Okay, I'm just gonna stir that in. And you can use this added water to sort of mash your mixture a little bit more, almost like it's cookie batter. Okay, and then next we're going to add 2 tablespoons of olive oil. So I have extra virgin olive oil here. It doesn't have to be extra virgin, it can be regular olive oil, but whatever you have on hand is fine. Okay, so I am just going to stir in the olive oil, like so. And next we're going to add a tablespoon of lemon juice. So I have this big thing of lemon juice. You probably, if you have it at home, have like the little squeezy bottle. I just cook with a lot of lemon juice, so I have a bigger one. You could also get a fresh lemon and squeeze the juice out of that if that's easier. But this is a little bit easier to pour. I'm just gonna get a tablespoon. Okay, stir that in. And it looks pretty wet, so I don't think I'm gonna add more water today, but you may need it, depending. So next we're going to add cumin. So cumin is optional. It's this spice, so it'll give a little bit more flavor and spice to your hummus. It's typically in most store-bought hummuses. So if you have this, recommend it. You can also use any alternative like nutmeg or something like that if you have that on hand. But you can also just use salt and pepper and skip this all together because the garlic and the lemon juice will be enough flavor by themselves. So no worries if you don't have this. Just gonna open it up and get a teaspoon and add that. And I'm just going to stir in my cumin. And then we just need some garlic. So gonna get a new one. So I have this clove of garlic here, or this bulb of garlic, and I am just going to break off a clove from here, like so. So see, this came off really easily, and the peel part came off with it. But I'm still just going to show you the trick on how to cut it in case you forgot. So we take the knife and we press down on the garlic like this, so it's squished. If the peel was still on, we would peel that off. And then just cut up this garlic really tiny. This is called mincing the garlic. And again, just be careful using a sharp knife. So we wanna mince this up really nice and small because garlic is very strong. And then we're just going to add it to our mixture and stir it in. And finally, we are just going to add salt and pepper for a little bit of flavor. Stir that all up really good. And then I'm just going to take this other bowl I got out so I can serve a little bit. So I have a little bit of extra, so you could just put this in a Tupperware and store it for a few days, no more than a week. And I have this nice homemade hummus. There's my finishing product. So as you can see, it is a little lumpier, but you can always just put it in the food processor or the blender if you don't like the lumps. So if you have one of those, you can put in the chickpeas first by themselves with just 2 tablespoons of water, get them nice and smooth, and then you can add the rest of the ingredients right into the food processor or blender, and it will be a much smoother texture like the store-bought hummus looks like. But as you can see here, we really don't need it. We can mash it ourselves and make it ourselves. So if you don't have one and you want to try this, no worries.